Things are gonna get crazy!
Most everyone's mad here.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another fun-filled episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, where if there is one thing that is crazier than this podcast, it's absolutely this week, because holy crap, this has been a complete week of madness, and I don't mean just the beginning of October, but I would also count the end of December as well. And this really was the week where the coronavirus decided to go on full swing, let me tell ya. And it's not just in one certain area, it's all over the place. Rather it be in my area in Quebec, where, believe it or not, we are in a second lockdown. Our numbers have been going tremendously high, all because of anti-maskers and, because of people not following the rules, like doing parties indoors and all that kind of stuff. But yes, apparently our numbers are becoming as bad as the Americans, so we end up in another lockdown. And it's going to be all throughout the month of October. At least we know when there's going to be a deadline, but yeah, it's been going pretty bad so far. I think it's safe to say we are officially in a second wave. But then you got the news about Trump. Holy crap, where do I even begin with this? Where it feels like we got a whole month of news all packed up in a week. It started out with Trump's tax returns have finally been revealed, and it turns out no one is surprised he's one of America's biggest criminals and a complete fraud, where he doesn't even pay his taxes. Then there was the disastrous debate where he confirmed that he is a white supremacist by failing to condemn it. And then finally, just yesterday as I'm recording this, apparently he caught the coronavirus. Yes, it is his turn to finally catch it and now is currently in the hospital. It is either A, he actually got it, and karma finally got to him after all the months and after all the years of lies, political division, and downplaying the coronavirus to the point where it led America to become the global epicenter of the virus. Or B, he could be completely lying and this is just a desperate attempt to go and save his election in order to go and win the election by November by faking this, oh, I got coronavirus kind of thing in order to catch sympathy of oh, poor Trump, he was sick, and try to make everybody forget about, many of the disastrous flaws about him. Forget about his tax returns, revealing that he's a fraud, forgetting that he is a white supremacist that cannot condemn it, and all that kind of stuff. And then after the years of, other disasters that Trump has caused, it's in order to go and forget that. But either way, we don't know what the fridge is happening. But I will say this, we are pretty much at the point where some people say, now it seems like maybe most likely that he is real, and I'm gonna say right now, no, I do not wish him dead. I don't want Trump to die because it's more important that he faces the consequences of his actions, and I would rather see him dead in a jail cell more so than in a hospital bed, close to my birthday, actually, oddly enough. But the thing is that a lot of Trump supporters right now are desperately demanding for sympathy, that, oh, now they're pretty much at the point that we should all come together, we should all wish him well, we should all suddenly take the coronavirus seriously now. Yeah, you know what? After the months and throughout 2020, after all that of them downplaying it and them portraying it like it's some kind of hoax, and because of them refusing to follow guidelines and spreading bullcrap conspiracy theories of it, I feel like, honestly, why don't we go and return the favor? Why don't we go and currently treat Trump like how Trump and all his supporters has treated everyone who has caught the coronavirus, and more than the 200,000 people that died in the US alone, pretty much saying that it has affected almost nobody, and even this week we're seeing more and more people being affected, more prominent political people, they're almost nobodies. Who cares if they caught it? You know, they'll just take what's that freaking thing that he kept recommending? You know that bleach, that hydrochloroquine thing. Yeah, just drink that and you'll magically be all better. It'll work, I tell ya. He keeps saying that. Why don't he take his own word for it? You know? And also, well, why don't we add a little bit extra to that? Currently, why don't we show as much sympathy to Trump as much as he showed sympathy to all the war veterans that have died during whatever war happened, you know, whatever war they died from. You know, the ones that Trump has called losers and suckers. Or even further, why don't we currently treat Trump like how Trump and all his supporters have treated people like George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, or any of the protesters that were murdered by the 17-year-old far-right terrorist? You know, why don't we go and return the favor? Because all these Trump supporters, like all they're doing right now, it's no secret that they're just virtue signaling. They want to try to teach us about empathy and stuff like that when they themselves don't even show empathy until it somehow directly affects them. Where now they are currently groveling at liberals and Democrats to go, please, we must all come together. We must make sure that he's okay. Bull crap, man. And seriously, no matter what the outcome is, rather if he's dead or if he comes out okay after this, we cannot forget about the true identity of Donald Trump and all of his followers. Donald Trump is a criminal, proven by his tax returns that he is a complete fraud and a con artist. He is a white supremacist who is constantly beloved by many other white supremacists and has often failed to condemn white supremacy. Now, there are going to be those idiots who will say, oh, well, here's proof that he condemned it. Yeah, actions speak louder than words, dude. Only an idiot would not think that Trump is not a white supremacist. And worst of all, Donald Trump, along with Mitch McConnell and all the other Republican politicians and also the anti-maskers, they are all responsible for the failed actions that they have done in order to protect the people from the coronavirus. If the coronavirus is not going to take down Trump, then voters should in November. Remember who Trump truly is and go and vote if you live in America and you are able to legally vote, of course. So the truth is, honestly, I ain't giving Trump any form of sympathy when the dude has never given any sympathy towards anyone else. Neither do his supporters. So that's all I'd have to say on this matter. Just need to go and really let that out. But anyways, with all that said now, I think it's time we can actually go and get into this right now. Let's get into the podcast because I know that you guys are waiting for this moment. So let me ask the chat wall, are you all ready for today's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Let me hear it, folks. Are we all ready? Let's see now. Alright, yes, alright, and people not giving sympathy to Trump, good, as they should be. Alright, yes, people are prepared, people are set, that is beautiful. So with that said, let's go ahead and get things started. And with our first story that we have right over here, well, let's be honest, folks, no one should really be surprised about this news. Considering that the movie was a massive box office hit, in fact, it was one of the highest grossing movies last year, so it shouldn't be any form of surprise that a sequel should be coming up. However, the more you do look at this sequel, the more that they would present the ideas that they would have, I'm not gonna lie, at least for me, I feel like I look at this and I can actually see potential? I know it sounds insane, but let me explain why as I talk to you about the Lion King remake sequel. Yes, the 2019 remake of The Lion King is officially gonna be getting a sequel, and they actually got some people that are gonna go and work on the project immediately. Now, one person is guaranteed that's gonna be coming back will be Jeff Nathanson, who has stated that apparently he has worked on the last movie, on the first film, and apparently he will be coming back to work at least on the initial script of it. Just need to clear my throat a little. However, what is very important to note here is that apparently Jon Favreau won't be coming back as a director, but instead it will be Barry Jenkins, in which you may recall him as the Oscar-winning filmmaker who has directed the Best Picture movie Moonlight, along with directing the recently praised If Beale Street Could Talk. So he's going to be the brand new director. Now, from there isn't any new information that has come out regarding the Lion King remake, in terms at least of other people that will be involved. We don't know who in the cast is going to be coming back. We don't know who's going to be like the new people that will be involved. However, we do have information regarding an idea of what they want to do with the plot, and this is where things get a little bit intriguing. So listen up, I'm going to go and read from my source here on Deadline, as it states, they are keeping the log line under wraps, but I'm told that the story will further explore the mythology of the characters, including Mufasa's origin story. Moving the story forward while looking back conjures memories of The Godfather Part 2, set on the African plain with a continuation of the tradition of music that was a key part of the 1994 animated classic, the 2019 film, and the blockbuster Broadway stage transfer. On top of that, we also got a quote here from Barry Jenkins himself, as he states, let's see, Helping my sister raise two young boys during the 90s, I grew up with these characters. Having the opportunity to work with Disney on expanding this magnificent tale of friendship, love, and legacy, while furthering my work chronicling the lives and souls of folks within the African diaspora, I think that's how you say it, I might have butchered that word, is a dream come true. So that's currently the situation that they have with this Lion King remake sequel. They got a new director with Barry Jenkins, and we got an idea of a little bit of a plot line where it's going to be both a sequel and a prequel at the same time. And we know that the prequel will be more the rise of Mufasa. Now, first things first, I might as well go and start things off by talking about the 2019 movie. And I just gotta say, right now, if I would have to go and find one movie that would be considered the most hated film in Disney history, not necessarily the worst, but the one that has received the most significant amount of backlash, the most amount of hate just on the movie itself, it has to be the Lion King remake. Maybe some will say the Mulan remake or maybe Song of the South, but at this point, I think it really is safe to say it's just the Lion King in terms of just being the movie, for being what it is. Not necessarily counting any form of controversies, just on the basis of the fact that it's a remake of The Lion King. And in my opinion, I'm not necessarily too thrilled about that film. I don't think of it as the worst movie out there, but I could definitely see why people really don't like this, and why many people would say, especially, that it's such a pointless film, especially considering the fact that it truly is a shot-for-shot remake. Now, granted, I do admire the technology that they do pull off, but it's not necessarily suited for a story like this. I mean, the technology is phenomenal, it's amazing, there's not much to complain there, but to use it for a narrative-type story like The Lion King, it doesn't work as strongly as other movies that they could have used this technology into better use. And in terms of the narrative itself, in terms of the story that we had, in terms of the characters that are represented, for the most part, a lot of it really is just the same thing as the 1994 film. You look at it, and it's practically a shot-for-shot remake with really minor exceptions, except that, like, the differences are so insignificant that they really don't matter. It's like, oh, well, it's not all the same as the original Lion King, you know? There's a moment where Simba talks to a Phil Lamar antelope. That's kind of different. The hyenas are kind of different. They don't fully sing Can You Feel the Love Tonight or Be Prepared. There's that too. You know, that's what I'm trying to say. It's just the fact that the differences are so minimal that it is fair to call this a full-on shot-to-shot remake. And yes, I do agree that it definitely is a pointless movie. And now the factor that we do have a sequel, again, like I said before, it's honestly not all that surprising, because despite all the backlash, despite all the hate that it got, it is an extremely successful movie. Like, one thing I will say that a lot of people would go and say this, and it is an absolute lie. Even though I would say that the hate for this is very strong, and it is probably the most hated Disney movie, it would be a lie to say that it doesn't have its fans, that the Disney live-action remakes have fans of their own. Now, there are some people, of course, that, like, maybe the hatred on this, it's more the amount of hate that people do have. Like, honestly, to make a kind of comparison, you know how I was with Sony Animation and movies like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and Hotel Transylvania? There's a lot of people right now who currently feel that way about this Lion King remake, or about Disney live-action remakes in general, where the hatred is massively strong. So, like, maybe it's not really the quantity of people that hate it, it's more like the the vocalness, how, like, the hatred on it is extremely loud on this thing. And the thing is that the living proof is because of what happened at the box office. It currently stands as the highest grossing animated feature of all time with 1.6 billion. And you know that even though there are a lot of people that give it hate, that give it a lot of backlash, you know the grand majority of them are also the cause of the Lion King remake's success, right? Like, you'll hear them ranting, but then again, those are the same kind of people that would go into the theater and say, one or two tickets to The Lion King, please. And you never know. And, like, with a movie that made $1.6 billion, you know that there are plenty of people as well that didn't just watch it that one time, right? So that's the thing. That's just a little piece of commentary that I do want to give in terms of the current stance of the Lion King remake. And so far the hate has gone pretty massive, that even in the chat wall, I have noticed that there are even some people that did mention that some people do feel nowadays that the Lion King remake is overhated now, that people have taken their hatred for the Lion King remake a little too far nowadays. And so with all that said, so it's not necessarily that much of a surprise that now we do have a sequel to this Lion King remake. And with all that said, I'm going to be very honest with you guys. When I read this article, when I read about the ideas, when I read about the people that are involved, I'm sure I might get some hate for this, that people are going to despise me for saying this, especially if they do have this massive hatred for the Lion King remake. But honestly, I see potential in this. I can actually see this really working out. Like, if done right, this could actually turn out to be a very solid movie. Like, a legitimate and worthy addition to the Lion King franchise. Now, I know that sounds insane, but hear me out. Now, of course, I am aware that there is still that strong chance that this movie might turn out to be a complete disaster. That this is going to be the type of film that everyone is going to hate. Like, everyone is going to hate. It's just going to make things worse for the Lion King remake. And the reason why I do say this would stem from my feelings towards sequels to Disney live-action remakes, because if you ask for my opinion, if I would have to go and list out what would be the absolute worst of the live-action remakes, it's gotta be the sequels. Like, if we can count Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland, then I would put in Alice Through the Looking Glass, and especially last year's Maleficent Mistress of Evil. Those ones, I consider them to be the absolute worst. More than the Lion King remake, more than the Dumbo remake, and more than the Mulan remake. So there is a chance, with how bad those sequels have been so far, maybe this Lion King sequel could be into that as well. However, it does have some advantages as well, because so far they do have some materials can actually that could actually work out extremely well. It could work out in its favor. Now, hear me out on this. Number one, of course, is regarding Barry Jenkins. Now, you already got the diversity element already in place, and I mean, Disney is often pretty good at making a good, solid representation of itself as a very diverse and inclusive company. The thing is that right here with this Lion King remake sequel, you got a black guy directing an African story, so already they got those points there. But it's also the fact that it is Barry Jenkins, and already he is establishing himself extremely well as a prominent and acclaimed filmmaker, already with movies such as Moonlight and If Beale Street Could Talk in his repertoire. We know that people can have absolute confidence in him that he can go and actually make something great, especially with Moonlight, in which it won Best Picture. So imagine how it is with the marketing where you actually got an Oscar-winning director that helmed a Best Picture movie, now working for Disney on a Lion King remake sequel. You know, it can actually have potential, and Barry even stated himself that he is someone that did grow up with the original Lion King. He knows the story very well. He knows the characters. He has a personal connection when raising his brothers with his sister. So this could be a case where he would want to go and take this project seriously. There is a strong chance that he's going to take this project at heart and will actually develop a legitimate story instead of something that would just seem like a desperate cash-in like the original movie. There is that chance. And then there is also the idea of this synopsis, if they really are going with this Godfather Part 2 idea. Now, hear me out on this. Honestly, I have no idea with what they could do with the sequel. I don't know which direction that they could try out. Maybe there is a chance that they could go a little bit into the direct-to-video sequel, you know, like go with The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. Now, I know a lot of people have already joked that this is going to be a shot-to-shot remake of Simba's Pride. I honestly don't think so. I think Disney is going to try to avoid that, really, but I wouldn't be surprised if there would be, like, small elements of Simba trying to raise Kiara. But what really does intrigue me a lot, and this isn't necessarily something that Disney has really dived into, that is the Mufasa element, making this a prequel as well, showing the rise of Mufasa and how he became king. Now, I know that there's going to be probably a lot of major Lion King fanboys that will probably point out some obscure book or maybe like a few episodes in like The Lion Guard telling us about like the origins of Mufasa and all that kind of stuff, but we never had a main storyline actually portray this prequel, showing us this actual rise of Mufasa. And I feel like the more you go into that, the more you can imagine how deep they can really go into this lore. Not only showing Mufasa and how he became this prominent and beloved leader of the Pride Lands, but also looking into the element of Scar as well. How he started out as just a brother to Mufasa, but then ended up getting exiled into the Shadowlands. Like, where did that betrayal come from? And that I feel like is going to be quite fascinating to look into. That I feel like there is a lot of potential where you can really build a lot of elements in order to present the characters that we once all knew and loved, and grow and show them how they started out as kids and grow to become the characters we all recognize. I think, honestly, in the right hands, this could actually really work out beautifully. Now, again, I don't know if all this could actually work out well, but so far they are presenting some ideas that I feel like I could really get down with. Like, honestly, some ideas that I feel like if it can work, then I think it can actually really work out beautifully. Maybe on top of probably fixing up some of the errors, because I can say this right now. There is already one thing that this is promising us that we didn't get in the original, and that, well, when I say original, I mean the 2019 remake, and that is something different. At the very least, they are going to be delivering something that we haven't seen before, and already that is a massive plus. So from there, honestly, overall, I feel like there could actually be some potential. Now, I do recognize that there is still that chance that this is going to be a failure in terms of quality, and that this might turn out to be another really bad Disney live action remake that nobody really asked for. But honestly, I can see where things can actually go very well, especially with the addition of Barry Jenkins and the possible plot line of doing it as a Godfather Part 2 style sequel, where we can also look back and see the rise of Scar and the rise of Mufasa, see the rise of Mufasa and the fall of Scar. So, who knows how this could turn out, and you never know if they're gonna really push this. I mean, like, I know that especially in these times, you never know when movies are gonna be fully released, but with the way that Disney would really put the pedal to the metal, especially with the Lion King remake, like, keep in mind, that production went by so quickly, where it was announced, I believe, back in 2016, and then it ended up being released in 2019. So you never know with the speed of this movie as well, that maybe we'll be seeing this sooner than we expect. Like, if things can actually stay intact and they can really keep production going. So maybe we'll see this sometime in, like, 2023 at the earliest, or maybe most likely 2024. But overall, I will say, I'm honestly, like, it sounds crazy, but I think I'm going to keep an open mind to this. I think we could actually see something pretty solid coming out of this movie. So with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I would like to ask you all, what are your opinions about this Lion King remake sequel? Are you guys intrigued to see how this could turn out? Are you guys still really turned off by it? Let me know what you all think about this. Okay. Let's see now. I basically have no interest in the Lion King remake, but I do see some potential in the sequel. I wish that they improved the facial expressions of the characters. They just need to look at Aslan from Narnia, or the animals from the Jungle Book remake, on how to give emotion to the faces of the animals. As for those fans who want to point to something like the Lion Guard regarding Mufasa's backstory, I got two words for you: alternate timelines. Yeah, I'm gonna say, honestly, on that comment, I'm gonna say two things right now. Number one, unfortunately, as much as I would like to see them improve the technology, I highly doubt that they would do that, mainly because of keeping consistency to the original. Because yes, I do agree that is one massive flaw, where the expressions on their faces look absolutely blank. In fact, the cast of The Lion King is pretty much no different than the cast of the Mulan remake. And as much as I would like to see the animals be a little bit more expressive in their faces, I doubt that they would do that for the sake of keeping consistency with the look of the original. And also, with your comment on alternative timelines and if people are going to bring up stuff from the Lion Guard, I think honestly, yeah, they're not going to look into the Lion Guard as, like, at all. It's obvious in the Lion King remake, as much as that is a shot-for-shot remake of the original, it does show that they also really want to try out to do, like, they really want to do their own thing. And it's pretty much prominent, like, it's very much obvious that they are doing that with the hyenas, especially, where it's completely different than what we got with Shenzi, Banzai, and Ed. So from there, I feel like, yeah, like, whatever plot line they would bring up with the Lion Guard, like, take that thing and throw it out the window, because that is not going to be applied in this sequel at all. Let's see now. Frankly, I found redoing The Lion King to be quite pointless, let alone having it be successful enough to warrant a follow-up. It was definitely the same thing as the original, almost no exceptions. Sure, it had some technological advances, but they should have been better suited for an original story. That said, I really can't wait to see this sequel having any sort of potential whatsoever. Okay, that's nice. let's see. I'm not gonna lie, when I saw the news of this come out, I thought to myself, oh Christ, a Lion King sequel? This is gonna be absolutely... Barry Jenkins, you say? I didn't exactly hate the remake as much as the rest of my chat wall colleagues, but it definitely feels like the exact same movie mixed in with a tech demo. But on the other hand, this is coming from Barry Jenkins, and he's proven to be an amazing filmmaker, so maybe this could be another hit for the guy. Hell, maybe it'll be another, and the comment just stopped there. You know, sometimes people need to learn that there is a limit to how much you can comment on Twitch, actually, because they won't let you write down everything you would say. Let's see now. Well, this was a surprise announcement. Well, if we're gonna get this, then at least hire talented people to give them enough freedom, like Rian Johnson with The Last Jedi and Ryan Coogler with Black Panther. He deserves a good payday. Now that Disney is poaching A24 directors, then does this mean we'll get Ari Aster of Hereditary and Night on Bald Mountain on Roger Eager's Lighthouse, Legend of Sleepy Hollow, or Sadfi Brothers, Oliver and Company. Yeah, oh my god. Imagine if they would actually do that. But, you know, the funny thing is that considering that you did bring up, maybe Disney bringing in A24 directors, does that mean in the future we could get an animated film directed by Vivzy Pop? Imagine that. A Disney animated feature directed by Vivzy Pop. she's already working with A24 to have Has-Been Hotel appear on television. You never know if Disney is just gonna come in yo, Vivzy, come here. Want to direct a Disney animated movie? I know it sounds insane, but not impossible. Alright, anyways, let's move on now. Let's see. With Jon Favreau's involvement on the follow-up either gone or limited, the latter could be made possible by Disney making him its executive producer. Can the use of the virtual reality style live-action filming technique be applied without Jon? If so, can the same technique also be applied with the upcoming live-action remake of Bambi, where a similar filming method could be used with or without Jon Favreau involved as a director or EP? P.S. I can hear a lawnmower in the background. Yeah, I know. So someone's doing a lawnmower thing. I mean, as much as I want to try to filter out, I'm just working with what I can. Don't worry, don't worry, the lawnmower is not that big of an issue. Honestly, looking into this, I don't know, if it says, yeah, it doesn't necessarily say here if Jon Favreau has any involvement in this. But then again, they did say that it is understandably a top priority for Sean Bailey's division after the last film grossed $1.6 billion worldwide. So, yeah, I wouldn't, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it would actually be the case that Jon Favreau could come back as a executive producer so that he can make sure the technology can be done correctly in the same way as the first film, but who knows? We'll see with how that goes. Let's see, what else do we got here? I'll read another one. Frank, did I read this? Okay, yeah, all right. I don't think I've seen this one. Frankly, I found redoing Lion King to be quite pointless, let alone having it successful enough to warrant a follow-up. It was definitely the same thing as the original, almost no exception. Sure, it has some oh, no, wait, no, I have read this. Oh, sorry about that. Alright, I'll read, okay, yeah, I'll read one more comment before we jump into the next story then. Why do we need this? The remake is about 99% shot per shot like the animated film. Is there really a point to making this? I do see potential though, and I could see improvements on it. Remember Lion King 2, Simba's Pride? They could potentially base a bit of the direct-to-video sequel onto it, just throwing some ideas. I mean, that is highly possible, but then again, we'll just have to wait and see with what they can do. I mean, like it says here, it is a top priority for Disney to do it, so who knows? We could probably get it sooner than expected. Alright, now for the next story, we are still going to be talking about Disney, but unfortunately, this will be some tragic news. If I would have to go and point out what would probably be the most hurtful, the most tragic news that have been released this week, honestly, I would have to go with this one, and that is regarding all the layoffs that have happened at the Disney parks. Yes, unfortunately, it has been reported that 28,000 employees at both Disneyland and Walt Disney World have unfortunately been let go. 28,000 people just entirely fired. And apparently, it even stated that 2/3 of those 28,000 are actually part-time employees. And on top of that, as you can imagine, of course, this is all because of the pandemic. Now, we have heard so much about the reports of how the pandemic has really hit Disney hard, but among all of its divisions, it has to be the theme parks that have received the biggest damage, losing not just millions, but billions of dollars so far in this year alone. And technically, the year is not even over yet, so they're still losing a lot. And as I am recording this, Disneyland has not officially opened yet, while Walt Disney World has been open since July, but as you could probably imagine, it definitely isn't like how it used to be, especially with all the limited capacity that they have to try out. And, well, most people would not be insane enough to go to Walt Disney World during a freaking pandemic in the first place. So, as you can imagine, things are absolutely not what it used to be at the American theme parks. In fact, we actually do have a letter here coming from the Disney Parks chairman, Josh D'Amaro, where he has written down in a public open letter in which it states, by the way, and I'm reading from my source here on Variety, in light of the prolonged impact of COVID-19 on our business, including limited capacity due to the physical distancing requirements and the continued uncertainty regarding the duration of the pandemic, exacerbated in California by the state's unwillingness to lift restrictions that would allow Disneyland to reopen, we have made the very difficult decision to begin the process of reducing our workforce at our parks, experiences, and product segment at all levels. Having kept non-working cast members on furlough cast members on furlough since April, while paying healthcare benefits. Approximately 28,000 domestic employees will be affected, to which about 67% are part-time. We are talking with impacted employees as well as the unions on next steps for union-represented cast members. Over the past several months, we've been forced to make a number of necessary adjustments to our business, and as difficult as this decision is today, we believe that the steps we are making will enable us to emerge a more efficient and effective operation when we return to normal. Our cast members have always been key to our success, playing a valued and important role in delivering a world-class experience, and we look forward to providing opportunities where we can for them to return. So, as you can imagine, this is absolutely devastating for these people, for 28,000 employees to be completely let go at both Disneyland and Disney World, especially during a pandemic, especially during a time where it is pretty much vital for them now in order to survive during this time, that they need healthcare more than ever, and that they need the money to go and pay the bills, to go and get food at the grocery store, just to get money to have a living. It's pretty much a very complicated scenario where they need to get the money, but at the same time, they need to make sure that they stay safe. And unfortunately, with the current system that America and most places around the world that they have, it's a very difficult balance to have. And I mean, technically, some people could say that it is understandable why Disney would have to go and ultimately lay off all those employees, considering I've already stated that they have been hit completely hard on them. But what I find to be very unfortunate, and what is very wrong for Disney to do so, to lay off all those people at once, is the fact that now those 28,000 unemployed people are pretty much in danger, because it's not just their salary that they've lost, but it's also their health care that they have ultimately lost as well, because now they've lost both their safety and their salary, and they don't really have much else of a way in order to go and live. And currently, right now, as you can imagine, a lot of people are furious, not just at Disney, but just with the system that's currently running at the United States so far. And apparently, now, I can't really fully confirm this, but I have heard rumors that apparently this week as well, after that they have laid off all those employees, the higher-ups at Disney decided to bump up their salary back to how it was before the days of COVID. And at that point, if that actually is true, then Disney is entirely in the wrong in this case. Like, why would you go and keep the money to yourselves when you obviously do have the money to keep your employees safe, to keep your employees on the payroll, to make sure that they do have especially the healthcare in order to go and survive this whole pandemic? I mean, yeah, I do applaud them that they've kept them on the payroll for so long, but letting them go right now, and if the rumors are true that, like, now the higher-ups are getting more money than before just keeping it to themselves, like, that is extremely problematic. But either way, even if it is true or not, there is one thing that should be absolutely blamed, like probably the number one reason why this is absolutely problematic, and that is the capitalist system. It is absolutely flawed, and this is a perfect example as to why. Because right now, what can the employees do? Like, really, what can they do in order to stay safe, yet still have a salary in order to go and keep the money going in order to go and pay the bills? And that's really the biggest issue with this balance. It's because of capitalism that makes it extremely difficult for people in order to go and find the right balance of staying safe while also getting some money at the same time. Because, like, more often than not, they would have to go and try to sacrifice one in order to have the other. They could either stay safe but not get any money at all, or they could go to work and get some money, but they won't be safe at all. They would end up risking a lot more in order to get the virus. And the thing is right now is that if it's not Disney that should be in charge of protecting their employees, then honestly, it should be the government that should go and do so. In fact, there is even a quote here, an additional quote where there is someone who has expressed some anger over Disney's decision, and that is actually Mary McColl, who is the executive director of Actors Equity Association. And as you can imagine, at Walt Disney World, there are tons of actors. They represent a major part of the employees that do work at the Disney parks, rather it be for the parades, for the stage shows, or even for the meet and greet characters. They gotta act their way to work. And in this case here, Mary states, a bill that could provide these layoff employees with unemployment insurance and a pathway to affordable health care has been sitting on Mitch McConnell's desk for months. Imagine that. Mitch McConnell caring about America and its people. Oh my god, that's a great joke right there. Anyways, in Florida, laid-off Disney workers can only receive $275 in unemployment benefits, which is unconscionable. The Senate must help these workers. And I think we know at this point the Senate won't do jack all for them. They don't care about the employees. They don't care about the American people. They only care about the rich and do whatever they can in order to benefit them. So, with that said, technically, at this point, if it's not Disney, then it should be the respected governments in order to do so to protect in order to protect the citizens and especially the unemployed ones, in order to go and make sure they can still have some money while they stay at home, in order to have that balance of having some money to pay the bills and in order to stay safe so that they don't catch the virus. However, that doesn't seem to be happening. Not in America at all, where, as I stated before, is the global epicenter of the virus. We know Florida ain't gonna do jack all about it. We know Ron DeSantis only cares about the money, and like he think like he's one of those anti-vaxxer conspiracy theorists, and he thinks the solution to the coronavirus is just pretending that it's not there and keep everything open, even though its numbers can often be as worse as Canada is right now. And even California as well. This isn't like a political thing. This isn't like a conservative or liberal thing. Like, even California can be pretty guilty as well. Where this week they did introduce this bill called the AB 3216, which would have been a great bill, especially for those fired Disneyland employees, where it would allow California unemployed people who got fired from the pandemic, and this bill would go and allow them to return back to their job once the pandemic is over. However, there's just one problem with that. The governor of California, Gavin Newsom, decided to completely veto the bill, leaving Disneyland employees and consequentially other California employees who have been fired from their jobs because of the pandemic pretty much permanently jobless. Like, now they got fired and they don't really have any other means to go back. And so far, you can imagine there's this massive backlash, and it ultimately leaves with little to nothing that the employees can do on this situation. So overall, I really wanted to go and highlight this situation here. The fact that all these employees at both Disneyland and Walt Disney World had ultimately been let go because of this entire pandemic. It's very unfortunate, and right now, because of their respective governments, because of the laws that are enacted there, they unfortunately have very little means to get back to work, and even less means of both healthcare and employment in order to go and get some money. So honestly, we need to go and wish them the best. And I'm sure if you can go and look it up online, there are many of these Disney employees. Like, they would do some self-work as well. Like, they would offer some Etsy shops, or some of them are artists. And if there is any other way that you can go and support them, I highly recommend that you would go and do so. I feel very sorry for these employees, and I wish either the Disney company or either the California and the Florida government can do something about it, but this is honestly something that needs to be highlighted to show a very serious problem with the capitalist system that America is running right now. And that, honestly, if we can't do something about the system, then at least for now, we need to do something about these 28,000 employees to make sure that they could be okay, that they could stay safe, honestly. So I just needed to go and make a bit of that comment here. So, at least to go and highlight that there is a problem and that these people need our help. So with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I would like to know your thoughts on the situation, and is there anything you would like to add to this as well? Let me know. Crap. Sorry, I think I lost my chat wall. All right, there we go. Let me know what you all think about the situation. Here, let me get my drink. All right, so let's see now. I'm really upset by this news. There are ways to help them, such as donating on Venmo, which is Cast Member Pantry, and Amazon wish list from Cast Member Pantry, and WDW Cast Members and Hospitality Pets in Need. My Disneyland friends and I have a favorite cast member we love seeing during our trips, but we have no idea how she's doing and whether or not she still has a job. I love Disney employees and I wish the best for them. So yeah, that is actually a great example. So if you go and look up, here, actually I'll do that right now. So if you go and look up Cast Member Pantry, so you just write that down. Yeah, and like there are some different areas that you can actually go and look up. There's like, they got a Facebook group. I'm sure they're prominent on social media. Like there's already a bunch of people, like, as I'm talking right now, like people spreading the news about cast member pantry. So just go and look them up. Just write down cast member pantry on Google, and I'm sure there are ways that you can go and easily find ways to go and support these people. So at least it's a good way to go and find out about, a good way to find out like a source to actually go and help them out. So thank you so much, Liv Mendel. What else do we got here? Let's see. Okay, I understand there were. I can understand why they do many layoffs. I mean, if you go to Disney World, go to your favorite ride, 0 minutes wait. In my opinion, I think that Disney should have shut down all the Disney parks around the world instead of those darn layoffs. I mean, seriously, Disney. In conclusion, I think this could possibly be the downfall of the Disney World worldwide. What do you think? Also, keep in mind that Disney is a huge empire, but they cannot stand with this pandemic in the park division, of course. I don't see, honestly, I don't see, like, any closures, really. Like, honestly, I can't imagine Disney shutting down Walt Disney World or Disneyland or any of the Disney parks, honestly. Like, they're gonna still keep that up and running, and they'll still keep that going, like, for many years to come. Like, Disney will be sure, like, the last option ever would be to shut them down. And as much as it would be a great idea to keep the Disney parks closed, especially the American ones, like, keep Disney, like, right now Disneyland is still closed, which is understandable, and keeping Walt Disney World closed, like, especially Walt Disney World, like, to keep that closed, honestly, I feel like it would be the best answer for not just the cast members, but also for the guests as well, in order to be safe and for them to go and stay at home. But then again, you could argue that Disney is definitely stuck between a rock and a hard place. So it's really hard to tell, especially with this capitalist system, what should be the best solution. And I mean, technically, in a moral sense, we know what is the best solution, but in terms of practice, in terms of like reality, it's tough to say what should actually be the right thing to do in order to keep these parks afloat and also keep the employees remain safe and still have a salary. Again, this is all an entirely difficult balance. Let's see here. I feel very bad for the Disneyland and World employees where they were let go during these difficult times. I hope they can find new jobs to help their families and they can be safe. This is the key reason why wearing a mask is sufficient to have the virus be gone in a snap. Exactly. If you want to go and make this be done faster, if you want to make sure that the damage is at a minimum right now, you must wear a mask. The only people that you should be listening to are scientists and medical experts. Hear what they have to say, and they will tell you that what you should be doing whenever you would get out of the house, wear a mask no matter what. Period. Let's see, what else do we got here? It's a massive shame that these people had to be laid off, and the number of people laid off is absolutely shocking. I'd say the government should take care of their people, but we all know that'll never happen with the annoying orange in office. Here's hoping the laid off employees do get back on their feet eventually. I will say, though, that I'm pretty sure even COVID is through with Trump by being all, "What? He called me the Kung what? Oh, I'll show that prick infection time!" Yeah, that is true. Like, it's kind of ironic how all these people, like how all these Trump supporters are no longer calling it the China virus, that magically they're taking it seriously. Now they're properly calling it the coronavirus. They're calling it COVID-19. They're somehow magically not using it as a political device in order to be racist against Chinese people and other Asians. They're not using it to antagonize Democrats. They're not dividing people with conspiracy theories. Somehow it seems all magical when it suddenly affects directly them. And now they're just going off freaking virtue signaling out of their ass, seriously. Alright, let's see now. Where do we have here? Ah, yes. Not so magical. The Disney parks are now. Oh, not so magical. The Disney parks are nowadays. Am I right? But in all seriousness, oh dear, if these firings keep up, and if the virus is still not properly dealt with, do you think that this will cause Disney to slowly close down the parks for good? Not saying it's highly likely, but maybe in several years or decades, in case the virus lasts that long. I mean, what if the vaccine for COVID is never going to come true? Yeah, at that point, I'm just going to say right now that, as I stated before, no, I am confident that Disney will not be shutting down any of their parks. That would be the last thing they would want to do. They'll shut down the company before they shut down the theme parks. And at that point, like, honestly, the only exception to that would be if the pandemic would last for decades, if we're still seeing this by 2030, then of course, like, it would probably ultimately lead to that. But for now, I would say, like, technically we're still in year one, and we don't know how things are going to be with this pandemic, and ultimately, I'll just say, like, we'll wait and see with how things are going to go, including the amount of employees that are let go and stuff like that. So let's hold on for a sec. All right, I'll go and read one more comment before we jump into the next story. This was just flat out depressing. In an age where the pandemic is still going strong, this really shows how this has also affected major businesses like Disney. It also doesn't help that Onward flopped back in March and New Mutants flopping recently. Where is Thanos when you need him? Yeah, I mean, it sucks, man. Like, the pandemic is not a fun thing to deal with, man. And as much as we hope that this whole thing ends soon, like, for now, the best we can do is just minimize the damage. And like I said at the beginning, like, all you gotta do is wear a mask, wash your hands frequently, practice social distancing, and hold anti-maskers accountable. Okay, so now that we are done with that, it is now time that we are going to step back from Disney, and now we're going to go into HBO Max, where there are some people that have noticed something a little bit peculiar, you know? There are something that people have noticed with a few certain shows that some things are kind of missing. That they are noticing that there are a few episodes that are actually not there. And what I am talking about is actually regarding Aqua Teen Hunger Force and the Boondocks. This week, a lot of people have been pretty curious regarding two episodes that are found within Aqua Teen Hunger Force and the Boondocks, and the fact that it is not available to go and watch either on HBO Max or any other services like Adult Swim or whatever that would go and present these shows. And the episodes in question are Shake Like Me and The Story of Jimmy Rebel. Shake Like Me, of course, is for Aqua Teen, and The Story of Jimmy Rebel is for the Boondocks. Now, when asked for this, pretty much Adult Swim decided to go and give people a very straightforward answer, saying that what they have done is that the episodes have been permanently retired due to cultural sensitivities. And that's mainly because these two episodes in particular, they do have one thing in common, is that they're pretty racist. I think that's the blunt, straightforward way of saying it. In fact, to go and read you what I mean, according to my source here, it states, on Variety, by the way, and by the way, this is for a little synopsis of these two episodes. In Shake Like Me and Aqua Teen Hunger Force, a reference to the John Howard Griffin book Black Like Me, Shake learns what it's like to be a stereotype after being bitten by a radioactive black man, according to the IMDb description of the episode. In the site's description of the story of Jimmy Rebel for the Boondocks, Uncle Ruckus finds his musical soulmate in famed racist country western singer Jimmy Rebel. And from there, they, like, pretty much, it just gave them, what happened is that Adult Swim just gave them an answer, and people just decided to go with that. And they just went from there, like, just to say, okay, well, here's the thing, and that's pretty much it. That's ultimately the answer that they have delivered. So, at this point, I don't think we could see those episodes come back anytime soon. In fact, even going a little deeper, it even says, according to a source, one of those episodes was accidentally uploaded to HBO Max due to a software error and was promptly removed. The episodes in question were not part of the original licensing deal between HBO Max and Adult Swim. Now, I know that at this point, there are going to be a lot of people that might be a bit outraged, that this is going to be another one of those cases where some people might say that, oh, this is censorship, this is they'll probably go and moralize people about forced diversity or PC culture or whatever bullcrap. There will be people that will do those rants, and honestly, I could understand the arguments of censorship and that maybe it would be more fair for HBO Max and for Adult Swim to actually put up these episodes, but actually put up a disclaimer talking about the cultural sensitivity aspects of these shows, kind of like what they have done with Gone with the Wind a few months ago. Like, they should have done that. But honestly, like, after watching these episodes, like, I remember watching Aqua Teen Hunger Force years ago, and I do remember this episode, and after watching the story of Jimmy Rebel, honestly, I gotta say that I do understand why they had to go and remove these episodes. Honestly, I think it makes sense, and it's probably for the best. And I'm not saying this because, like, oh, these are so offensive, these are so racist, no one should see this, they need to be removed. It's not really for that at all, but it's more because the thing is with these episodes, they really don't have much substance. Because the thing is, like, another major similarity with both Shake Like Me and the story of Jimmy Rebel is the fact that both these episodes have one major punchline, and that is racism. That's basically the whole joke. It's like, it's funny because it's racist. And I mean, I don't necessarily blame them for doing that. It's not because, like, the show creators were racist at all. It's far from that, actually, because I remember back in the mid 2000s, like back when Aqua Teen Hunger Force and the Boondocks were highly popular during that time, or at least from the mid to the end of the 2000 decade. Back then, adult humor is often considered to be edgy, provocative humor. Like, you know, those kind of edgelord, shocking humor that they would do related to bigotry, or they would say something that would be very provocative. That used to be considered the norm. That used to be considered very common to go and find within these shows, especially in Adult Swim type shows like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, and to a certain extent Boondocks as well. And especially with Aqua Teen, by the way, because the thing is with Aqua Teen Hunger Force is that this is a show that is just made to be completely stupid. It's the kind of series that there is no substance to it whatsoever. It's made to be mindless entertainment. In fact, I would actually go and consider it one of the most perfect examples of just full-on mindless entertainment for adults. But it's just, there are some times, though, where it can actually be pretty funny, where, yes, there are a lot of times that it's stupid, but sometimes the stupidness can actually be pretty hilarious as well, which is why Aqua Teen Hunger Force has gained such a massive popularity, such a massive fan base. I mean, it's pretty much a junk food show in a way. I mean, it's no mistake that the show actually does star a box of French fries, a milkshake, and a wad of meat, because this whole show is just junk food. There's no substance to it, there's nothing that you can intellectually gain from it, but it is stupid, mindless entertainment that you can just laugh at. And in the case of the episode Shake Like Me, I remember watching that episode, and again, with this one, the whole joke is literally the fact that Master Shake wears blackface. Like, that's the whole gag of it all, that somehow Shake ends up getting bitten by a radioactive black man for some reason, And then suddenly he morphs into a black guy himself, but ends up being morphed into a stereotype. And the whole joke is just Master Shake becoming a stereotype. Like, do you want to see the gag? Do you want to see the punchline? I actually got a picture right here. Here's the joke. This is the punchline of it all. It's Master Shake wearing blackface, basically, where if you guys are only listening to this and not watching it, like what you see here is that Master Shake, his skin color is golden brown. He has an afro. His pink straw is like somehow longer than usual. He's wearing gold chains, and of course, no black stereotype would be complete without big lips. You gotta have the big lips if you want to make a black stereotype. This is it, folks. What you see here is the punchline of the entire episode. This is pretty much it. It's just it's Master Shake being a black stereotype. That's all there is to it. And also, I would comment as well regarding the Boondocks episode of the story of Jimmy Rebel. Now, the thing with Boondocks is that in terms of the series, personally, I believe that it's the kind of show that when it has a good episode, it has a great episode. Like, they're not just good, they actually are amazing. And especially with the Boondocks having a very strong reputation of being blunt with the commentary that it wants to say. Like, usually there are some powerful episodes that have some very significant messages to them, and they're not afraid at all to push the envelope. Like, they're one of the first to go and call out R. Kelly for being a massive sexual predator with a messed up sex dungeon. And they're also, like, one of the first to go and actually call out people to say, like, what if Martin Luther King would still be alive today? And he would definitely be upset with not just, like, how racism is still thriving today, but also disappointed in the black people of today, how they're, like, even they're pretty messed up in a sense. So that's, and basically I just want to say that Boondocks, whenever they can be great, they can be absolutely amazing and provide a lot of commentary. Like, it's kind of the opposite of Aqua Teen Hunger Force, where there could be a lot of substance that can actually be found here. However, with the episode of the story of Jimmy Rebel, that is an exception. That one is not really an episode that is meant to have a commentary into it, even though racism does play a massive factor. But I guess you could say it's more of a satire kind of thing. It's more satirizing racism in a way. Maybe some people could say that there is some kind of substance to it, but they're mostly treating racism like it's a joke. And it's especially meant to play more with the character of Uncle Ruckus. And if you're not familiar with the character of Uncle Ruckus in the Boondocks, Uncle Ruckus is basically an entire satire of black conservatives. Like, this is the kind of, like, black conservative that just believes in whatever insane conspiracy theory there is out there. Not to mention that he is racist of his, like, he has a massive prejudice of his own people. Like, he hates black people to the point that he delusionally believes that he actually thinks he's a white man trapped in a black guy's body. Like, imagine Ian Miles Chong if he were a black guy. That's basically Uncle Ruckus for you. Just an insane conspiracy theorist that's just flat out racist. And from there, like, they would mostly just play on that racist aspect of Uncle Ruckus with the racist Jimmy Rebel. Like, just play around with that, find whatever jokes that there is. And technically, if you do watch the episode, there really isn't much substance to it, but rather what they would do is that, like, the whole punchline, again, is just racism. Where technically, yes, there was a moment where there was a little fallout where Jimmy Rebel and Uncle Ruckus get on stage, but considering that the audience is racist and conservative, they just hate the fact that there is a black guy there and they want him dead and all that kind of stuff. And technically at the end, like, they are, like, Jimmy Rebel and Uncle Ruckus, they are still friends. And then they end off with a punchline where they would continue making more songs, where they would continue singing together, but this time being racist towards Mexicans. That's just the whole punchline there. And honestly, from there, I can actually understand why those two episodes are kind of banned, per se. I know they say permanently retired, but that's just another fancy word for just full-on banned. And I kind of get it. It's not really because of the factor of racism. It's just really the way that they handled the subject without any substance to it. Now, it's understandable because it was made during a time when these kind of racist and provocative humor, it was mainstream. It was considered funny. But nowadays, times have absolutely changed. We live in an age where Black Lives Matter is really thriving, especially in 2020, due to the deaths of people like George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and many, many more as well. We have seen Black Lives Matter completely thriving, where people are making peaceful protests, but then you got Trump supporters and the police causing violence and going after them in order to silence them, when all the protesters are doing is calling out systemic racism and to have white supremacy be illegal everywhere in the world. Like, that's pretty much the big goal. And because we live in these times, it's not necessarily cool to see these kinds of episodes be here, to encourage the mentality that racism can be used as a punchline. To see Master Shake in blackface would be considered funny, or that the whole thing with Uncle Ruckus and Jimmy Kimmel is not something that should be encouraged among people. That's currently the situation that they are right now. And honestly, I feel like it is understandable. And I mean, again, I do understand people commenting about censorship and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I do understand that maybe they should, they shouldn't really censor anything and just put up a disclaimer about cultural sensitivities and stuff like that. But honestly, I understand why they would ban it. And honestly, you're not really missing out on much. I mean, these episodes are not really that great to begin with. Like, with Shake Like Me or the story of Jimmy Rebel, people are not highly praising it. It's not like an important episode of the show. So honestly, you're really not missing out much on these episodes in particular. So personally, I feel like I do understand why they had to get rid of this, because really they're taking the subject of racism and just really not doing anything about, like, they didn't really do much about it. Yes, honestly, I think the best way to put it is that technically I wouldn't say that these episodes in particular are racist. I'm not saying that at all. I think the best way to describe it is that they were a product of their time, and they just so happen to have really not aged well. I think that's the best way to put it. Alright, so with that said, let's go into the chat wall, and I want to ask you all, how do you feel about HBO Max's decision of permanently retiring the episodes of Aqua Teen Hunger Force and Boondocks? Do you think it is fair? Do you think they should still show it anyways and put up a disclaimer? Let me know what you all think. There we go. Okay. About the removed Boondocks episode, the character Jimmy Rebel is a parody of real-life singer called Johnny Rebel, who was notorious for his songs, which voices sympathy for racial segregation, the Ku Klux Klan, the Confederates, and even the heavy use of the N-word. Don't worry, though, he died about 4 years ago. Okay, well, yeah, that is true, but then again, nowadays, how many people know about Johnny Rebel? I'm sure that there is a lot of context to the Jimmy Rebel episode, and maybe, I could be wrong with what I'm saying. Maybe there is a lot more substance. But it's just that the context of what they want to say, what they want to talk about, it's going to fly through the grand majority of viewers' heads. And that's why, if you're not going to get the joke, if you're not going to understand that this is a whole satire on Johnny Rebel, then at that point, you're the only thing that it would show is just it's just treating racism like a punchline. So that's the thing, is that, yeah, they might have something to say, but it's a really obscure thing that people are not going to get. Let's see now. What do we got here? Yes, alright, here, this one. This isn't anything new. Netflix and Hulu did the same thing several months ago with Always Sunny and Office. Those jokes weren't okay. Sunny had episodes with two characters that did blackface, especially when they made Lethal Weapon 5 and 6. And I understand why, but I would have preferred if it was a decision from the creators or writers like The Simpsons did with the Michael Jackson episode. Yeah, honestly, that is a good point, though. I don't think we do have any reports coming from the show creators themselves, but we'll see. Who knows? Maybe they have discussed with the show creators in order to go and do so, but I don't know. But I do understand what you mean. Okay. What else do we got here? I've never really seen Aqua Teen Hunger Force outside of a few scenes, and that idiotic marketing campaign for the movie. Oh, right. I don't know if it's for the movie or if it's for the show. Like, it could be either or, but that bombing incident was a disaster right there. Anyways, but after hearing that synopsis, that episode really deserved to be pulled. I will say, however, that I applaud Warner Brothers for not beating around the bush with the controversy. I don't have a lot to say with that Boondocks episode, so all in all, with the Aqua Teen Hunger Force, with the Aqua Teen episode, they clearly didn't read the Bible. The mighty Jimmy would never approve. Oh my god. You don't say you don't see much Aqua Teen, but then you pull out something like the mighty Jimmy freaking... Dude, you pull that freaking reference, man. Have you did you do your research before doing your comment? It's like, okay, what Aqua Teen reference can I go through? Alright, I'll go with this one. Okay, anyways, here, I'll go with this. I understand why some companies want to avoid a modern equivalent to the censored 11 in a way, though removing too many episodes deemed controversial is an extremely slippery slope. Regardless of how tasteless they can be sometimes, if we're gonna start removing episodes from syndication, how about removing Family Guy's too conceptually apparent take on abusive relationships? As Kyle once said, either it's all okay or none of it is. Well, okay, hold on a sec. Before you go and sound the alarms, keep in mind this is literally just 2 episodes, and this is literally just from one episode from two shows. That's it. They're not gonna go and slowly develop. They're not gonna slowly eat up more and more of these episodes. All right, they're just getting rid of 2 of them. That's it. If there were more, then people would go and report. But that's the thing with the internet. If there is something missing, then we would immediately know, just like that. Just like with what happened here with the episodes of Shake Like Me and the story of Jimmy Rebel. It just has to be that. That's it. It's just those so far. If there are any more that would happen, then of course we should sound the alarms. Let's see now. What else do we have here? I know when you upload this on YouTube, the comments are going to look at the description and are going to be like, oh, PC culture is ruining everything and censorship is bad, and not actually listen to what you have to say. I already feel like I need to explain what you're saying on YouTube since nobody bothers to listen to you about Enter. Well, I mean, to be fair, that's just the comment section in general. For the most part, if people comment, they don't really listen to what I have to say. The comment section is just an area where people act before they think. And trust me, there are just days where it can be just frustrating and you want to frickin' slap them in the face. Oh, God, I swear. Trust me, I even get comments that they can be frustrating and, man, even this week, I had to deal with some frustrating comments that, honestly... They're not fun to deal with, but you could tell when people are just so stupid and just blindly label things like, your review is bad because I don't agree with what you say. Your review... It's like, shut the hell up, dude. You know you're saying it's bad because you disagree with me. Oh, God. Anyways, I'll go and read one more comment before we jump on to the next story. I couldn't really care either way. Yes, the episodes are a product of a more edgy time that doesn't fit with the current one. I understand why the decision was made. I'm fine with it. I just never really gelled with either series in particular. And both are from genres I'm not particularly interested in. I do applaud them for taking current sensitivities into consideration, though. So exactly. So it's not really that big of a loss. It's just 2 episodes, and again, they're not really the best episodes of the show, so you're really not missing much. Okay, so for the next story, we're going to be talking about a very distant future. These are going to be movies that ain't going to be happening for a long time, though. It's funny that we are getting these announcements now, but you could tell that Warner Brothers has some major plans in terms of their contribution with Dr. Seuss. Yes, it has recently been reported that Warner Animation Group is going to be collaborating with Bad Robot Productions in order to go and make an adaptation on the final Dr. Seuss book, All the Places You'll Go, in which J.J. Abrams is going to be producing the movie along with Hannah Migella. And, I'll go and save the release dates for much later. But what is also very curious, though, is that we do have updates on 2 particular movies. Well, one that has been announced and one that we have known for a little while. And one of these is regarding Warner Animation Group's adaptation of The Cat in the Hat. Yes, we already know about the infamous 2003 movie with Mike Myers, but now Warner Brothers wants to try to have their turn by turning that into an animated feature. A little bit like what Illumination has done with The Grinch back in 2018. In fact, they even mentioned that they actually got some directors as well, like Erica Rivinoja and Art Hernandez. And in terms of the... oh, wait, hold on. I'm excited to tell you about the release dates, but I did forget about another announced movie. It's not just All the Places You'll Go, but apparently they are actually going to do a spin-off film as well, featuring Thing 1 and Thing 2. Yes, you might remember those little mischievous guys in the Cat in the Hat book, but now it looks like Thing 1 and Thing 2 are going to have their own original story with their own feature film. Now, I know for so long I've been trying to hype up the release dates, so when is it that these movies are going to be coming out? Well, first and foremost, they want to go and make a big introduction to their contribution to Dr. Seuss. So, of course, they'll take his most famous story and turn that into an animated feature with The Cat in the Hat. But that film isn't going to be coming out until 2024. Oh, but wait, there is more. Then you also got the Thing 1 and Thing 2 movie. Those ones aren't going to be coming out until, that movie in particular, that one is not going to be coming out until 2026. And as for All the Places You'll Go, the movie that will have J.J. Abrams and Hannah Migella producing, that film has a 2027 release date. So it's not going to be until several years until we are going to have these movies. You got to give Warner Animation Group some credit. Like, they got a very long-term plan with what they want to do with their feature films, especially with the Dr. Seuss ones. And we do have a couple of quotes I would like to go and read, and the first one will be from Allison Abbat, the Executive VP of Warner Animation Group, as she states, "We are so thrilled to expand our creative partnership with Dr. Seuss Enterprises and are even more excited about the expansions of this slate of films. Our Cat in the Hat is off to a terrific start with the incredible Erica Rivinoja and Art Hernandez at the helm. All the Places You'll Go is one of Seuss's most enduring masterpieces, and his profound and poignant message resonates with fans of all ages. We are thrilled to be working with Hannah and J.J. at Bad Robot to bring this cultural touchstone to life on the big screen. And what could be more fun than to create an original story for Thing 1 and Thing 2? These two delightfully enigmatic... I think I said that wrong, sorry. These two delightfully enigmatic characters will help us explore the magical world that Ted Geisel created with The Cat in the Hat. and we can't wait to jump in. We also got a quote here from Susan Brandt, the president of Dr. Seuss Enterprises, as she states, Warner Animation Group truly understands the timelessness of Dr. Seuss, the incredible impact of the characters and stories, and how to translate the magical appeal to truly come to life on screen. With the amazing talent they are bringing to these projects, we are looking forward to bringing Oh the Places You'll Go and Thing 1 and Thing 2 to fans in a way that will delight them, capturing the imagination and inspire them to read and reread the stories. We are also looking forward to collaborating with the incredibly talented Erica Rivanoja and Art Hernandez, who we know will make magic with Cat in the Hat. So that's all the major things that they have reported so far with the Dr. Seuss projects. Of course, they still have plenty of projects coming soon, especially with properties so far. I don't think we're gonna be expecting an original feature film from Warner Animation Group anytime soon, considering that the next movies that they have coming up is the live-action animation hybrid of Tom and Jerry, another live-action animation hybrid with Space Jam: A New Legacy, and then finally, I was about to say Disney, but DC Super Pets as well. So that's the major story that we got right now with these. And honestly, I do find this to be pretty fascinating, and I will say this, one thing that people might forget with Warner Brothers and when it comes to Dr. Seuss is that so far, they are off to a very interesting and very appealing start so far. Because people might forget that technically it is because of Warner Brothers that we have the Netflix series Green Eggs and Ham. They are the ones that are actually providing the animation, and so far that one has been getting some massive praise. And it's hard to really comment, I will admit, regarding how things are going to go with their contribution onto the Dr. Seuss stories, like with Cat in the Hat and Oh the Places You'll Go, and now with a spin-off with Thing 1 and Thing 2. It's going to be difficult to really get how they're going to go because, technically we're not all that familiar with how Warner Brothers would go and handle it. I know I just commented about Green Eggs and Ham, but technically that is regarding Warner Brothers Animation. That's not really Warner Animation Group. That's like a completely different story right there. And with Cat in the Hat, with all these stories like now belonging to Warner Animation Group, I will admit that, let's be honest, folks, we're not really all that familiar with how Warner Animation Group can be outside of the Lego movies. Because, you may probably notice that it is a little bit of a different, a night and day kind of thing with how their non-Lego movies are and with the Lego movies. The Lego movie, they already have, they had a major group that was already behind it. Producers like Dan Lin, and then, you also got Phil Lord and Chris Miller, and then you got people like Chris McKay being involved. They had their own unique team working on that. Whereas with some of their other films, they can honestly have some mixed results. Nothing terrible per se, but there are a lot of them that you can pretty much imagine that they don't really go towards some appealing territories. I mean, there are some times that they do bring out some pretty solid films. Honestly, Storks was, it's not a great movie, but it was actually pretty enjoyable and has some really funny moments as well. But then you would have films like Smallfoot and recently with Scoob as well, where they're just not great. In fact, it's kind of debatable to say if they are good. At best, they would be okay. They can provide some pretty solid animation, and that's probably one thing that people are very much excited about. It's to see how they can provide some, how will they translate the visual style of Dr. Seuss and bring that possibly to computer animation. How will they bring the Dr. Seuss style into animation? Now, that is going to be very fascinating to go and check out. But in this case here, with Warner Animation Group, with the way that they would go and handle the stories, it's just really not great. And especially Warner Animation Group so far, especially coming from Scoob, it really does seem like the more corporate type of features that they would go and create. You know what I mean, right? Like the kind that would go and focus more on making money instead of actually making a good quality feature, which is why you end up with like a bunch of celebrities being the voices, which it was up to the point where you don't necessarily need celebrities to do that job whatsoever. Like the kind that would be very desperate and would lean heavily on having A-list celebrities, not because of their talent, but for marketing purposes. And not to mention how the stories would end up becoming predictable. They would become pretty weak. It's all corporately manufactured. And from there, I can, like, honestly, it's at this point where I can definitely see some of the highs and lows. And like, honestly, one thing that probably might intrigue people is the fact that with these films, they will end up becoming a lot more different than what we already had with Illumination Entertainment, with stuff like The Lorax and The Grinch. Now, granted, those movies were not great at all. And a lot of what I described about Warner Animation Group can also be applied to Illumination. And in that regard, like, just thinking about that right now, it wouldn't surprise me if, honestly, it'll just end up becoming the same thing, but just from a different studio. Just switch the names from the companies, and they'll just do the exact same thing. Like with Warner Anime, like, yeah, sure, the visuals, I can imagine, they could be fun, they can be fine, like, they could probably really stand out, but will the story do justice? Will they actually go and properly convey the messages that they want to say to its audience? And at that point, I honestly don't know, especially if they would want to have a mentality of trying to be cool and hip with the young crowd, try to get as much big name celebrities as they can for the marketing. It's just going to be difficult. I mean, yes, like, the same can pretty much be said with Illumination. I mean, the Illumination Dr. Seuss films, they provide great animation, but the rest, like, can be described as maybe mediocre at best. Like, even as someone who would defend Illumination, like, there really isn't all that much I can say to help save these movies, you know, like either The Grinch or The Lorax especially, where I would count them as like the weaker Illumination films compared to stuff like Sing or Secret Life of Pets, or especially the Despicable Me films. So honestly, this is a case that it sounds, I will give it that in this case here, it does sound intriguing at first. Like, this is something that I do feel like it does pique my curiosity, and I would like to see how they would go and adapt a Dr. Seuss story, like, especially, like, what they would do to make a big budget animated feature of the Cat in the Hat, and even bring in stories like Oh, the Places You'll Go, and what they could actually do to expand upon Thing 1 and Thing 2. I will give it that, in terms of that actually really does intrigue me. That's the part where I feel like in concept, I would totally be down for. I would actually be curious. But in terms of execution, especially with Warner Animation Group behind it, honestly, I don't know. I don't know if it, like, honestly, my question is just, at this point, is it really going to be any different than when Illumination would handle this? Because, yeah, a lot of people are not necessarily fond of either the 2018 Grinch or especially with the Lorax, but really, is changing the studio from Illumination to Warner Animation Group any better? That's my biggest question. I mean, I'm not going to deny that I'm sure the artists and animators and even the directors, they will do the best they can to make the best thing, you know, to make the best movie possible. But then again, like, I wouldn't imagine, especially at Warner Animation Group, where there's going to be a whole lot of studio interference and very limited creativity that could be involved with this. So, honestly, it's an iffy thing for me. I feel like it is very iffy. I mean, like, we're still way behind. Like, as I said before, the release dates are going to be, like, way into the future. Maybe, like, at best, it's going to be way past when the coronavirus is over. Like, it'll be during a time when the pandemic was just a memory. So, like, well, we still got, like, so many years to go, but it's just that right now, I am a little bit worried. I am a little bit iffy if this whole idea of, like, making big screen, oh, the places you'll go, or another Cat in the Hat and stuff like that, is like, you know, it sounds like a great idea, but then again, I like, it makes me think, is it though? So honestly, I feel like it is something that we would just have to wait and see. I think that's the big thing about it. I mean, I wish the people at Warner Animation Group the best of luck for adapting these Dr. Seuss stories, and I hope that they do come out the best that they could be. But for now, it's just like this whole idea, especially with Warner Animation Group involved, it's just like, I don't know, guys. I just honestly don't know. Like, it could turn out great, but then again, don't blame me if I put out my doubt button. Alright, so with that said, let's go into the chat wall here, and I want to ask you guys, I know I'm very conflicted, but I want to know from you. I want to know from you all, what do you think about these announced Dr. Seuss movies from Warner Animation Group? Do you think that this could actually turn out to be great? That, like, Warner Animation Group is more than qualified to make something out of this? Or is it something that's terrible and, like, you're gonna regret it, and it might even turn out to be even worse than the Illumination movies? Let me know what you think on this. Okay, so let's see here. I'm not against Dr. Seuss movies being made into animated movies as long as we can avoid the nightmare fuels of the 2003 Cat in the Hat. But Abrams being involved made me a bit nervous, but he is a better producer than director and writer. Let's hope he gets talented people who are actually clearly great and go on to do better stuff, like Reeves when Apes and Lindelof with Watchmen. I mean, that could highly be possible. And yeah, like, I know, like, with J.J. Abrams especially, like, after The Rise of Skywalker, people do have their doubts about him as a filmmaker. So, like, but maybe he could work things out as a producer. Maybe he can actually go and help out in order to improve all the places you'll go. And especially the fact, I forgot to mention that technically this is the first time that J.J. Abrams will be involved with an animated project. So it will be pretty intriguing to see how things will go on that level. Let's see, what else do we have here? Warner Animation Group sure loves their cinematic universes, don't they? Maybe this won't be as spectacular as the Lego movies, but so far it seems more developed than the Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe. The Cat in the Hat with Mike Myers is admittedly a guilty pleasure for me, so I'm excited to see where that goes, and curious to see what they'll do with it, with All the Places You'll Go. I just hope this extended universe leads to a violent war between Horton the Elephant and the Grinch. Oh, that would be fascinating to see. Well, yeah, that is definitely true. And it's kind of weird because, like, out of all of the animation studios out there, it seems like Warner Brothers is really the most desperate to make not franchises, but, like, full-on cinematic universes. I mean, they tried to do so with the Lego movie, and honestly, that kind of failed. They want to try to do that with the Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe, which I'm just gonna say right now, it is kind of strange that we have yet to receive any updates from that, especially after the release of Scoob. And now it looks like they want to do more Dr. Seuss type movies. Now, I have heard sources from before that it is possible that they might not go into that direction, that they don't want to do a full-on big cinematic universe movie, but I don't know, but it is noticeable that they really want to try to capitalize on, like, having these movies come together and have a massive connection, especially with Dr. Seuss. Like, maybe narratively, we're not going to see all these places, all these characters come together. It's not like suddenly we'll see the Cat in the Hat, oh, excuse me. We're not going to see the Cat in the Hat tag along with the boy from All the Places You'll Go, but yeah, it is coincidental that they really want to go and like try to really push hard on the whole cinematic universe thing. Let's see now. This is interesting. This reminds me of what WAG is trying to do with their Hanna-Barbera films, like the upcoming ones like The Jetsons, Flintstones, and Wacky Races. But the most surprising to me is the release dates being so far into the decade. So overall, this will be interesting indeed. I mean, it is true, because so far, from 2024 up to... No, wait. Well, I mean, technically... No, not 2024, but so far, like, 2023 and 2025 is left empty, so you never know, like, what they could possibly release, and if they would also go and try to do some double releases as well, kind of like 2021, where not just Space Jam, but also Tom and Jerry is going to be released, so they could do that as well. Let's see now, what else we got here? Oh, look, another franchise that's attempting to make another shared cinematic universe. The animated movies based on Grinch and Horton were decent, so I'm not saying these movies can't work, but so many cinematic universes have failed before, truly getting their feet off the ground. However, if a Dr. Seuss verse does become successful, maybe I can finally get my dream come true of a feature-length film adaptation of Seussical the Musical. Hey, you never know, that could be possible. Maybe that could be something they have in the works. And you do bring up a very good point, because technically it is not impossible for an animated Seuss movie to actually work out. I mean, at best, like, the Illumination movies we got so far, they are okay, especially with The Grinch. I don't think it's a bad movie at all. It's just that it's okay, really. It's definitely no Chuck Jones adaptation, but... Then again, there is also Horton Hears a Who that you did bring up, and I gotta say that it was a massive surprise, especially coming from a studio like, not Illumination, but a studio like Blue Sky, in which not only is it the best animated Dr. Seuss movie so far, but I would say it is the best Dr. Seuss movie, and one of the best Blue Sky films as well. It was a very pleasant surprise. So I would say that with those films, with Horton especially, it's one of the it's definitely a great example that could definitely prove me wrong of what I said about these feature films. So who knows with how it could turn out. So I think at best what we should do with these is just keep an open mind and see where it can go with these films. And hopefully it won't go into a direction that is similar to what we had with the Illumination films, or especially with Scoob. Let's see now. Oh, yeah, okay. No, wait. Actually, hold on, let me find one. Okay, yeah, right over here. No, I've already read you. Fudge nabbit. Okay. Now, I'll go and read two more comments, actually, before we jump into the grand finale of this. Well, this is crazy. While I do think that Warner Brothers has potential, especially after they did a good job with Green Eggs and Ham, however, I'm unsure how to feel about having J.J. Abrams involved. While he can do great work with his existing properties, like The Force Awakens and Star Trek, I think he does better when you give him an original property like Lost. That is a good point. That is interesting. But keep in mind, again, he is just being a producer here. He's not being the director. Let's see, one more. Talk about taking things slow, but if it is because they are giving it the animation efforts like Green Eggs and Ham, I can understand the wait. If it isn't that, then I just wonder one thing. Why? Is it because of the pandemic? I don't know, actually. There's nothing that says that it is because of the pandemic. I mean, technically, keep in mind that we are talking about Warner Animation Group, and we are talking about J.J. Abrams, and, like, both of them are extremely busy people. Like, they're, well, company and person, you know what I mean. They're both extremely busy, and I mean, they got a lot of projects already on their plate, so maybe it is for the best that they would have to delay it for, like, so long in order to properly develop these properties all together, especially if they want to try to connect them with one another and to fully go and establish a certain art style in order to get it right. So you never know with how that's going to be. But with that said, I know I have expressed a lot of doubts about this, but again, I think the best thing to do is just keep an open mind and wait a few years to see how this could go. Okay, so with that said, it is now time to go into the grand finale. And I understand that with this month, it has so far been insane. So far, we started October really on the wrong foot, especially with the pandemic going absolutely nuts. In fact, as I am recording this, we're only on day 3 in the month of October 2020. However, there is one company that decided to go and step up and say that this month is not going to be all that bad because there are certain things that we can look forward to. And the first thing that I would like to go and talk about is going to be regarding Pokemon. Yes, the funny thing about this week is that when it comes to this week, even though we did not have a Nintendo Direct, it certainly did feel like it with 2 major announcements that many fans have been long awaiting. And first of all, the first one that we got this week is regarding the expansion of Crowd Tundra, which is the second expansion pack for Pokémon Sword and Shield. And with the Crowd Tundra, they did state that it is going to be a little bit similar to what we already got with the Isle of Armor, in which it's going to be an extra area where they will expand a little bit of the story, and plus the fact that they are going to be bringing back a lot of the Pokemon that were not from the original and are going to be returning for the Crowd Tundra. Now, of course, previously they have expressed that we are going to be getting a whole bunch of legendary Pokemon. In fact, they did state that every legendary Pokemon starting from Gen 1 and going all the way up to Gen 7 are going to be making a comeback onto the Crowd Tundra. But on top of that, we are also getting some new ones as well, including Articuno, Galarian forms actually, new versions of Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres, and some new Regis as well, like an Electric Regi and a Dragon Regi, I believe. On top of a brand new legendary Pokemon that is like based on the Crowd Tundra, that is like this massive crown Pokemon per se. But on top of that, they did state that there will be some familiar faces that will be returning in terms of Pokemon, just like last time, where many Pokemon that were previously not in the game before, now they're going to be returning, which will include the Nidoking and Nidoqueen family, the Electabuzz family, the Magmar family, the Garchomp family, some of the older fossil Pokemon, and even the Dragonite family. Yes, it is time that you can actually go and capture a Dragonite on Pokemon Sword and Shield. But on top of that, they have also revealed there is one more Pokemon that I forgot that they are going to be bringing up, and that's going to be a Galarian Slowking, in which they decided to portray him as a Hexpert Pokemon, kind of like pretty much a witch doctor Pokemon per se. And on top of that, they have also made some other major announcements, including a release date of when the Crowd Tundra is actually going to be coming out, which will be on October 22nd. So from a few weeks from now, we will be going into the Crowd Tundra. But wait, there is actually more. On top of that, they have revealed that technically, instead of just buying the games themselves and then later getting the expansion pack, they did state on November 6th, you can actually get the entire game with the expansion pass itself on November 6th, in which you can go and fully buy Pokemon Sword expansion pass or Pokemon Shield expansion pass, in which you can go and buy at the Nintendo eShop and you can get everything at once. But wait, hold on. There is actually more. In fact, the main thing that they have revealed for the Crowd Tundra is actually going to be something called Dynamax Adventures. And I'm going to go and read you from my source here on Nintendo's website directly, as it states, in Dynamax Adventures, players will team up with 3 other trainers to explore a Pokemon den where Dynamax Pokemon are said to lurk. Instead of their regular Pokemon team, players and their fellow trainers will choose Pokemon that they can temporarily use for battle, rental Pokemon, to bring along into the depths of the den. Players will have to work together with their 3 teammates in a maxed raid battle whenever they encounter a wild Dynamax Pokemon during their exploration. If they win the battles, players will have the opportunity to catch the Pokemon, and one trainer on the team can swap the newly caught Pokemon for the Pokemon they had before. Trainers can delve deeper into the den with endless Dynamax adventures, which enables the player to continue until they lose the battle. And on top of that as well, there are also some bonuses that they are offering right now, including some special Pikachus, where right now, not one, but 8 special Pikachus are going to be available throughout this month of October up till October 30th, in which you can put in a special code, and in your Pokemon Sword and Shield game, you can actually get a very special Pikachu in which he wears one of Ash's hats. Regardless if it's like the original one, or if it's the one from like Hoenn or Sinnoh or or even Galar, like with the most recent hat, you can actually get all 8 of the special Pikachus with a hat by putting in a special code. Well, you have to put them one at a time, and again, it is going to be throughout the month of October, so all the way up to, so like one at a time. Like, we already got like 3 of them that are currently available, and then day by day you can actually go and put up a code, and then you'll get a special Pikachu. So that's how the whole thing with that goes. But then there is also one other major announcement, and that is actually regarding the app of Pokemon Home, which is the massive storage space where people can put in all their Pokemon, like literally thousands of Pokemon that they have caught in the game, and they can put it all in there. In which they have revealed that by the end of this year, they will actually have a connectivity with Pokemon Home and Pokemon Go, in which you can actually go and transfer the Pokemon that you have caught on Pokemon Go, and you can actually put it onto Pokemon Home. And what's more is that if you go and do so, then you will actually receive some bonuses. On the Pokemon Go game, if you go and do so, then you'll actually capture a legendary Pokemon called Meltan. I think it is Meltan or Metan or something like that. You'll capture Meltan. And then in your Pokemon Home game, you can actually get a special Pokemon that you could transfer onto Pokemon Sword and Shield called Melmetal, which is the evolved form of Meltan. But this isn't just any ordinary Melmetal. This is actually a special one in which it can Gigantamax. It has a special version if you would go and Dynamax it as well. And honestly, in my opinion, as someone who has heavily played Pokemon Sword and Shield, like I've been playing it for months, to be honest, just to go and do a lot of shiny hunting, this is actually pretty interesting. And honestly, like the main sell for me is, of course, all the new Pokemon that's going to be coming in for the crowd Tundra, and especially like a lot of the familiar ones that are going to be coming back in order to really expand my roster. So that's going to be that's going to be a lot of fun to go and catch. And it looks like with the Crown Tundra, the biggest sell is going to be regarding the Dynamax element of the whole game, because that is the new feature, and it looks like with the Crown Tundra, that is what they are going to be really expanding upon. That's going to be the big main seller, and try to really go even further with the ways that you can play with Dynamax. So for people who do enjoy max raid battles, or if you want to go and capture more Pokemon, I personally feel like the Crown Tundra is definitely going to be for you. And for me, as a Pokemon player myself who loves playing Pokemon Sword and Shield, I think honestly this is actually pretty exciting. So of course I'm definitely anticipating myself for October 22nd. Oh, but that's not the Nintendo news that you want to hear. That's, that really isn't much. That's not the one that people have talked about the most, You don't want to hear me talk about the Crown Tundra. You want me to talk about what is possibly the news that could debatably eclipse anything that Trump has done so far, and that is regarding freaking Minecraft Steve. Yes, it is official, folks. After months of waiting of who could be the next potential character that could arrive in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, they have finally revealed that apparently Minecraft is coming to Smash in a major way, especially with not one, but several new characters. Well, technically it is one character, but they will come in different forms. These include Minecraft Steve, and then you also got Alex, and then you also have Zombie and Enderman as well. And that is the major announcement that Nintendo has done that people were just freaking out on the internet, and probably still freaking out to this day. Because on top of that, actually, just a few hours before I started recording my podcast, it looks like Nintendo made a special presentation about these characters in particular, like how to play these Minecraft characters like Steve and Alex, and it's all presented by the legendary man behind Super Smash, Masahiro Sakurai. And he went into detail about describing how these characters would actually play. And I will give it credit that they really tried to go and emphasize the Minecraft element of Minecraft, because not only you're going to get a new stage, you're also going to get a lot of music from Minecraft Earth and Minecraft Dungeons. On top of that, and also, like, it goes without saying that you're also going to get a bunch of brand new Mii costumes, like based on the pig, based on the creeper, and even a diamond suit that you can actually have. But they also went and described how to play Minecraft, how to play the Minecraft characters. And apparently a lot of it has to do with mining and crafting as well. Like, one of the most important things I'll say right now that you have to do with Minecraft is that you gotta keep on mining. And depending on the stage that you're in, you'll end up getting a lot of different materials, like whether it be for wood, iron, stone, gold, or diamonds, redstones, or whatever. You have to keep on mining in order to build the materials you have to use in order to fight others, whether it be to mine swords in order to do your basic attacks, or you would go and make some carts in order to run through some people. Or you can go and actually make some blocks in order to, like, go around, like, you can actually jump and stay in midair by just continuously making some blocks that quickly disappear. Or you can actually make some dynamite so you can blow some people up. So the big thing really is about making some, is to really build your way into fighting against your opponents. Now, I'm just gonna go and be very honest with you guys. When I first heard about the announcement that Minecraft is gonna be the next Smash player, when I heard that after waiting for months, after Lin Lin was announced at the beginning of this, Min Min, sorry, not Lin Lin, after Min Min from ARMS was announced as the new fighter, like, when we were anticipating who would be the next big Smash character, when I saw that it was Minecraft, for me personally, I was like, oh, really? You're serious about this? Okay. I guess. Are you serious? Really? We're doing this? Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was honestly pretty underwhelmed by the announcement. Now, I think one thing to really keep in mind, and I think it's a very important thing to note as I express my opinion on this, is that keep in mind I'm not a Minecraft player. I've honestly never played Minecraft in my life. And nothing against the game, well, maybe except for the insane creator Notch, like, who is so psychotic to the point that even the whole gaming community is keeping a distance at the guy. But the thing is, like, I just never played it. Nothing against it, but I just saw this decision and I felt like, really? That's it? Like, we're really serious? I don't know. I just feel like this is one of those, like, it's honestly complicated to express my feelings, but it's just, I feel like it's one of those things that people joke all the time about, and yet now they're taking the joke way too seriously. Like, now it's up to the point where, yes, it looks like a Minecraft movie, it looks like Minecraft for Smash is gonna be real. Now, granted, I'm not saying that I am fully against having Minecraft in Super Smash Bros. At all. It's just that I personally feel like with the potential roster that there is out there, like, when you do think about plenty of other characters, and, like, even the ones that, like, we already got either as spirits or just as costumes, I just feel like Minecraft would be something that would be a lot more perfect as a Mii costume. I feel like it makes a lot more sense to go and do that. And I mean, like, considering that we've had characters that I personally feel like that would have a lot more potential as its own fighter, rather it be like Altair from Assassin's Creed, or like freaking Cuphead, for example. I mean, Cuphead seemed to be so prominent with with an actual piece of music in there, with like its own Mii costume and even some spirits. Like, you think Cuphead would be a great solo character in Smash, but no. Like, apparently they gotta make room for that with Minecraft. Now, granted, I do understand very well why they would have to go and do that. I understand why they would go and pick Minecraft. I mean, it is it's honestly one of the biggest games in history. It's one of the most revolutionary games ever that debatably has started the indie revolution in the gaming industry. And it really is the one that, kind of cemented it cemented video games as, a massive powerhouse in the industry in terms of business. Seriously, it's insane how popular Minecraft is. So, I understand the popularity, but I can't help but feel honestly, it's more a bit of a soulless decision on Nintendo's part. I understand that they spent years discussing about what they can do to integrate Minecraft onto Super Smash, but I honestly feel when it comes to Minecraft, it feels like a decision that's no different if you would put Freddy Fazbear as a new fighter for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, you know? It feels like they're valuing popularity over eligibility. Honestly, and yeah, sure, Masahiro Sakurai would describe, he's up for the challenge of trying to integrate these characters, but it's just I can't help but feel there are so many better options out there. Out of all of them that a lot of people have been heavily demanding. And I know that there are a lot of people who did demand Minecraft Steve to actually be in Smash. But thinking about characters such as Crash Bandicoot, or Spyro the Dragon, or Master Chief from Halo, or Sora from Kingdom Hearts, or the Doom guy, or the Doom guy, plenty of others that I can think on top of my head, and they went with Minecraft? I'm sorry, but for me, honestly, I just feel personally let down. Now, granted, I will admit this. I know I sound like a butthurt hater, but honestly, that's probably because it is. That's probably the truth of it all. It's just yeah, it's important to keep the context that I have never played Minecraft in my life, so I'm not really that familiar with it. I don't really have a personal attachment to this. So that's why seeing this news, I was more really, at best. And honestly, just like many other Smash Bros. Players out there, I do have my personal wish list of who I want to see in Smash Bros. Honestly, I would love to see characters like Rayman, or Crash Bandicoot, or Cuphead, or one of the Raving Rabbids, or stuff like that. I would love to see that. But at the end of the day, it looks like they went with Minecraft, and for me, that kind of left, I kind of felt personally disappointing. I felt disappointed. So, honestly, it's just on a personal matter, and yeah, it is my opinion, where, I perfectly understand why there are a lot of fans that are more than ecstatic and are still freaking out to this day about Minecraft Steve being on Smash and stuff like that. But yeah, overall, I just want to say, I'm disappointed, but then again, that's just my opinion. But okay. Oh, and also a lot of people are mentioning as well about the fact that they have also revealed that technically this morning they did also reveal a bunch of Mii costumes as well. That they did mention Travis Touchdown is going to be a costume. Well, the Minecraft costumes I did mention, and even Bomberman, that they are going to get a bunch of those as well. And there is also another one, but I kind of forget about. There is also another one that people would mention about this other game. I kind of forgot what it is, but yeah, they have those costumes as well. But anyways, I know that the important thing that I want to do right now, maybe I'll go right now, I need to keep an open mind. Even though I've never really played Minecraft, how does it play? Because that's also a major thing that they have revealed this morning that Mr. Sakurai has talked about, and it is regarding how Steve plays. And technically, I need to ultimately wait and see with how this will go, if I'll be comfortable playing with Steve. But I'm just going to say right now that in terms of the gameplay that they are showing, he looks like he is a massive gamble. And I feel like he's probably going to be more complicated and will cause more issues. I could be wrong as well, but I don't know. I feel like yeah, people are going to be freaking out about him now, but it's going to be tough to see if people will get used to really playing as Minecraft Steve, because again, the whole thing with him is that he's a major gamble. The thing is that his niche attacks, like kind of the niche thing about the Minecraft characters is that they require mining. That's the big thing they got to do. They need to mine for materials, and it changes depending on the stages that you're in. Like sometimes you can go on one stage and you'll get more materials than the other. Like you'll get a lot more wood, but not enough stone. Or in another one, you'll get a lot of iron, but not a lot of wood. And there are some attacks that you really do need a good mix of everything, rather it be a bunch of redstones to make the dynamite, or a good amount of iron to make the carts, or stuff, or like just to make swords and stuff like that, or just to go and make your bricks. Especially the fact that you need to go and carry around like a whole workshop. Like you can't just do it on the spot. Like you got to be sure you're at your work zone and you got to go and build your materials. And I feel like at that point, for me personally, I feel like it is very similar to a character like Hero from Dragon Quest, where it all depends by chance where you would have to land a really good attack. And it's the same thing with Minecraft, where it really does depend if you do have all the materials necessary in order to build your attacks, in order to build the stuff you need in order to make the proper attacks. And even if the stuff you would have right now, maybe it's not necessarily something that you would absolutely need. Like maybe you need a better sword, because that's also a major thing. Like, yeah, a wood sword could be crap, but if you have a diamond sword, like you can pretty much be OP. But I feel like this is one of those characters where it could be a little bit too dependent on chance. And I mean, some people, like, I talked with my friends about it, and they did mention to me that technically Mr. Game & Watch is also another character that could depend on chance, but not as much. At least with Mr. Game & Watch, you do have the freedom to still control your attacks. You could still do whatever you want. You don't need to gather a random batch of materials. So I don't, like, I do admire, like, I will admit this. I do admire the way that the game is trying to incorporate the Minecraft element onto this, but I don't know if it's going to be as effective. I don't know if it's going to work as well when actually playing this. Like, yeah, it sounds great, you know, it sounds a lot of fun in theory, but in practice, I don't know if it's something that a lot of players can really get into. But I could be wrong, and we'll wait and see. And we don't have to wait too long, though, because with the Minecraft characters, they will actually be coming very soon on October 13th. So with that said and done, I would like to go into the chat wall, and it's now time that I would like to ask you all, what do you think about the announcements of Pokemon Crowd Tundra and having Minecraft onto Smash? Are you guys really excited for them? Are you a little bit disappointed? Let me know your opinions. Let me know what you all think. Okay, let's see now. I got to disagree with you, AniMat. With all the crafting and mining in the game, Sakurai probably saw the massive potential in the making and moveset around it, and just looking at his moveset has me intrigued. Plus, just because Steve is in Smash now doesn't really mean that the other characters you wish for are excluded. As for which character I want to see next, please, Mr. Sakurai, can we get Knight from Hollow Knight? And I mean, you do bring up a good point, and I mean, that is true. Technically, not all hope is lost, because technically, we do have 4 more characters left that are going to be coming in Smash Bros. Ultimate, so we still have plenty of time to see if they're going to be, if maybe our wish lists can be granted. And I mean, who knows? Maybe there is something to the whole crafting thing, and they could actually find some good gameplay, and it could actually be a lot of fun to play with. Like, I will admit, just recently I picked up Smash, and I was playing a bit with Min Min, and I was surprised to find myself really enjoying her. I was like really having, you know, like I was really getting into the moves and really getting into like the quick speed that she has. She was actually a lot of fun to play with. So maybe it could be the same case with Minecraft Steve, and I could be completely wrong. Who knows? Let's see now. I have nothing against Minecraft, but to be honest, I have to agree with you on this. When I heard the announcement, I felt a bit confused and kind of felt a bit mad. It just doesn't fit as a playable character, but would fit better as a Mii costume. Overall, it's a massive pass for me, and I would rather have characters like Crash, Rayman, and Cluna. Let's see, what else do we have here? Who else? Even though Minecraft is too complicated for me, I'm not against Steve in Smash Bros. Ultimate in particular, has been a celebration of all video games. Minecraft is literally the best-selling game ever, so it's not surprising that Steve and Alex would eventually show up in the Ultimate's Who's Who in Gaming. Yeah, you do bring up a good point. Plus, praying for Professor Layton and Nightmare from Soul Calibur to join in the game. Oh, Nightmare. Oh boy. That could be an interesting one. That could. Let's see. What else do we got here? Who else? I am so hyped. I'm very excited that they decided to put Minecraft in Smash. For me, I hope one day we will get Crash Bandicoot in Smash. However, this announcement will never compare if the day ever comes if Waluigi will get announced for Smash. Oh my god, I would love... Yeah, that would be my major wish list, honestly. That would be the one thing that would be, like, so stupid to actually add in. Like, that would be one stupid meme I would be get down to actually have Waluigi in Smash. Like, to break his assist trophy, have him join Smash, I would be down for that. But in all seriousness, if there is one that I would say I would unironically want for Smash Ultimate, it would definitely have to be... Crash Bandicoot. So I just want to put that out there. Let's see. I'll go and read one more comment before we cap this off. Crap. I always fall upon the ones that I often see again. Okay. I think I'll go. Yeah. Okay. I'll go with this one. Since Microsoft has had good terms with Nintendo, hence why they were able to get permission to use Minecraft and Banjo-Kazooie in Smash Bros. Ultimate, I wonder who's next for Microsoft. Master Chief from Halo, Horstachio from Viva Pinata, any animal from Zook's Tycoon? Probably not, but anyways, I still hope for Crash Bandicoot to appear in Smash Bros. Ultimate. After all, his current owners, Activision, did allow Donkey Kong and Bowser to appear in the last two Skylander console games. Even Crash appeared in one of them. Yeah, that is true, and I mean, who knows? Honestly, if I would have to go and take a guess, if Microsoft would have another character, I mean, unfortunately, we can't really put in Cuphead because, well, he's already a costume, but honestly, I would say it's not impossible to see Master Chief in Smash. I'm just gonna lay that out. I would actually think that would be possible, especially with the different arsenal that he would have. But anyways, with that said, I think that should conclude this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. And let me just say thank you all so much for being a part of this. It was definitely one crazy episode, but all worth it at the end. And tune in next week that hopefully it will still be crazy, but not as crazy as what we got this week. But with all that said and done, I would like to say thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for listening. And until next time, see you later, dudes.